Ever feel like you're not doing enough? Like you should be further along, faster, stronger? We look at these huge goals, writing a book, starting a business, getting fit, and we feel overwhelmed. We see other people making these giant leaps, and our own small steps feel, well, insignificant. But what if I told you that the most powerful, lasting change doesn't come from giant leaps? It comes from the quiet, almost invisible power of tiny progress. This is the secret that successful people understand but rarely talk about. It's not about grand gestures. It's about the small, consistent actions that build a new reality, one tiny piece at a time. So, if you're tired of feeling stuck, let's explore how to harness this quiet power and transform your life. Not overnight, but for good. First, let's get one thing straight. Small progress is still progress. It's so easy to dismiss our efforts if they don't produce immediate, dramatic results. Maybe you only managed to write one paragraph today, or you walked for 10 minutes instead of running 5 miles. The voice in our head might say, "That's nothing, it doesn't even count." But it does. Every single step, no matter how small, moves you forward. Think about it. Moving forward slowly is infinitely better than standing still, or worse, moving backward. The journey from point A to point B is made up of thousands of individual steps. It doesn't matter if some steps are bigger than others. What matters is that you keep taking them. Imperfect, slow, barely noticeable progress is the engine of all great achievements. So, the next time you do something small, instead of dismissing it, acknowledge it. You moved the needle. You are further along than you were yesterday. That is a win. Now let's talk about the biggest thief of joy and progress: comparison. We invalidate our own journey because we're too busy watching someone else's highlight reel. You see someone launch their dream business, and you compare it to the fact that you just managed to draft a business plan. They run a marathon, and you just started a Couch to 5K program. This comparison is a trap. It makes your small, crucial steps feel worthless. But you're comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You don't see the years of tiny, unseen steps they took to get there. You don't see their struggles, their doubts, or the days they felt like giving up. Your path is your own. Your pace is your own. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Did you show up today, even in a small way? If the answer is yes, you are succeeding. Your journey doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be valid and powerful. This brings us to a fundamental truth. Consistency beats intensity. We're obsessed with the idea of intense, all-or-nothing efforts. We think we need to go to the gym for 2 hours every day or not at all. We try to write a whole chapter in one sitting, and if we can't, we give up for weeks. But this approach almost always leads to burnout and failure. Think about the Grand Canyon. It wasn't carved by a single massive flood. It was carved by the steady, consistent flow of the Colorado River over millions of years. A tiny, gentle action repeated over and over again has the power to reshape landscapes. The same is true for your life. Meditating for 5 minutes every single day is far more transformative than a one-time 2-hour meditation retreat. Reading 10 pages a night will get you through more books than trying to read a whole book in one weekend and then not picking another one up for 6 months. These gentle, regular steps create real, lasting transformation, while rare bursts of effort just leave you exhausted and right back where you started. And here's the magic of it all. Tiny actions accumulate. At first, you won't see the results. It's like putting a single drop of water into an empty cup. You add another and another. For a long time, the cup still looks empty. It feels like you're doing nothing. But eventually, the drops start to form a puddle. The water level rises, and one day, the cup overflows. Meaningful change often begins invisibly. Think of bamboo. For years, you can water the seed and see no growth above the ground. It's all happening beneath the surface as a complex root system develops. Then, when it's ready, the bamboo shoots up, growing incredibly fast. Your small daily efforts are like watering that seed. You're building the foundation, the root system for your future success. You might not see the progress right away, but every tiny action is a building block. They are compounding, gathering momentum, and preparing you for a breakthrough. Trust the process. Even when you can't see it, the results will come. Of course, none of this is possible without one key ingredient: self-kindness. So often, when we stumble or take a step that feels too small, our inner critic goes wild. "You're lazy," it says. "You'll never get there." This kind of self-criticism doesn't motivate you. It freezes you. It creates a cycle of shame and inaction. When you're harsh with yourself, the thought of trying again becomes daunting because you're afraid of failing and facing that inner critic again. Self-kindness, on the other hand, is the fuel for progress. When you treat yourself gently, you create a safe space to try, to fail, and to try again. If you miss a day, self-kindness says, "That's okay, you're human. You can start again tomorrow." It doesn't demand perfection. It understands that setbacks are part of the process. Being kind to yourself makes it easier to keep going, to stay consistent, and to build momentum. It's the difference between a coach who yells at you for every mistake and one who encourages you to get back up and try again. Which one would you rather play for? To truly embrace this, we need to redefine what success looks like on a daily basis. Finishing the entire project, running the full race, cleaning the whole house. But this definition sets us up for constant failure. What if we redefine success? What if success wasn't about finishing, but about starting? What if success was simply showing up, at least a little? Under this new definition, reading one page is a success. Writing one sentence is a success. Putting on your running shoes and stepping outside even for 5 minutes is a success. This shift is revolutionary. It turns an overwhelming mountain into a series of manageable steps. It allows you to collect wins every single day, building your confidence and making you feel capable. Success isn't a destination you arrive at one day. It's a practice. It's the act of showing up for yourself, day after day, in whatever small way you can. Finally, let's talk about the emotional payoff, which is perhaps the most important part of this whole process. Giant leaps are scary. They're risky and unstable. When we try to change everything at once, we often trigger our own fear of the unknown, leading to self-sabotage. Small steps, however, do the opposite. They build confidence. Each tiny win says, "Hey, I can do this." They create a sense of stability and control because you're not overwhelming your nervous system. You're making gentle, sustainable changes. This feeling of safety is the real foundation of long-term change. When you feel safe, you're willing to keep going. You build a track record of success with yourself, proving that you are someone who follows through. This deepens your self-trust and self-respect. This emotional foundation is far more valuable than any quick, flashy result. It's what keeps you going when motivation fades. It's the quiet, internal shift that guarantees your external world will eventually transform. So, the next time you feel discouraged, remember the quiet power of tiny progress. Let go of the need for speed and drama. Forget what everyone else is doing. Focus on your next small step. Celebrate it. Be kind to yourself. Understand that you are planting seeds, building roots, and creating a foundation for something incredible. Your small steps are not insignificant. They are everything. They are the path to a life that is built not on a frantic sprint, but on the steady, powerful rhythm of your own consistency. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. See you in the next video.